Joined now on the broadcast behind the mic with Corey Graham, the voice of the Edmonton Oil Kings. Bit of a rough start for an Oil Kings team that's been rebuilding the last few years. Tell us about it, Corey. What were the expectations and who have perhaps been the highlights in a not great start to the season?
Yeah, definitely a bit of a slow start this year. I think it was kind of expected. This team still kind of rebuilding a little bit. They started their cycle here once again last year at the WHL trade deadline when they moved a couple of their key assets. The start was a little bit expected. I actually thought they got off to a better start than maybe I hoped for them. But since then, they've kind of hit the skids here. They've lost 9 in a row, and they've really kind of fallen back. They're in the last spot right now in the Western Hockey League. So after a pretty decent initial few games, they've really kind of struggled. And I think they're trying to find a way to pick up some points here and stay in the mix a little bit. But I think it's a team that's going to be better as the season moves along. They got a lot of young pieces. They're led by Fix-Wolansky right now up front. He's been their offensive catalyst. He's a guy that seems to put up a point just about every game and always gets himself in a good spot to score. But they just haven't had enough secondary scoring yet, and their goaltending and defense has let them down a little bit this year. It's been a tough go, definitely, here in Edmonton.
A bit of a rebuilding, a few rough seasons in a row, and perhaps that happens in the WHL with the Bantam draft. It takes a bit longer for your players to come up. Has it been tough, though, where the Oil Kings dip has coincided with an Oilers resurgence? Because Connor McDavid comes in, obviously. Has that been tough from a marketing point of view, do you think?
I think so. At least this year, all the pressure's off the Oil Kings, though, because the Oilers are struggling as well all of a sudden, which everybody in Edmonton's ready to burn the rink down, it seems like, every other day when the Oilers lose. There's a lot of attention being put on the Oilers here and the way things have gone for them coming off that playoff run last year. Last year, in the first year in the new building, the Oil Kings had some great crowds. They sold that building out 3 times of 18,700 or whatever it is. So they had some real nice crowds last year. I think a lot of people wanted to come check out the new building for the much cheaper price point than it is to see NHL hockey. So they kind of rode those coattails well. They're still drawing pretty decently this season. I think they're averaging tops in the Western Hockey League right now, but it's not quite the same. And I think a building that holds that many people, when you only have 4,000 or 5,000 in it, it looks rather empty no matter what. I mean, it's been a battle this year a little bit that way, but I think the Oilers kind of being where they're at is kind of taking a lot of the attention away from the Oil Kings struggles right now.
I don't know how long you've been there, but obviously the Oil Kings have had some good players over the years. Tell us about who some of the best are that you've seen come through.
This is my 8th year doing games, so I've had a chance to see pretty much everybody that's sort of moved on, and even the first year of their 11-year existence now is working the broadcast as well. I've had a chance to see pretty much every Oil King that's kind of moved through their organization, and guys that are in the NHL right now, probably led by Mark Pesic on the blue line in Florida. It's taken him a little while to really kind of entrench himself as a top 6 guy, but he's really kind of grown into that role now with the Florida Panthers. He was a great Oil King here, led them to their first WHL championship in 2012. And you look at that 2014 team, and Curtis Lazar, obviously, with the Calgary Flames now, it's taken Kurt a little while as well to sort of find his spot. Made the NHL at 19 with the Ottawa Senators, and was obviously much publicized last year on the trade deadline when he eventually got moved to Calgary. But I think for him, a fresh start there has been good, and an organization that I think envisions him as being part of their long-term future. Those are 2 guys that jump off. And then another guy that kind of thought would take a big step right away was Griffin Reinhart, who's on his 3rd NHL organization now with the Vegas Golden Knights, but still unable to crack their roster. He was a dominant junior defender at this level, captain the Memorial Cup team, and I still think that eventually he's going to find his way. Bigger, more physical defenders sometimes take a little while, but I'm hoping to see Griffin Reinhart make a dent in the National Hockey League. And then in goal, you look at the Oil Kings during their glory years there, had Laurent Pasqua and Tristan Jarry, who are both now in the NHL. So 2 guys that really kind of backstop some great teams for them. So good to see their success with Edmonton and Pittsburgh, respectively. So I've had a chance to watch some great players here over the years.
Well, perhaps more to come, too, as the young guys get a chance to play. We thank you for telling us all about it, Corey. Thanks for this. Best of luck to you and the Oil Kings the rest of the season.
All right, thanks very much.
That's Corey Graham, the voice of the Edmonton Oil Kings, joining us on the broadcast. You're listening to Carstar, Cape Breton Screaming Eagles Hockey, 1270 CJCB.